I'm in my media log this week. So I want to add this to my regular schedule, I guess you could call it. I will be doing my log as normal because I cannot have a separate notebook to track the media log to then just fill it out later. I feel like that's insane. And I also don't want to record myself every single day for 3 seconds as I write the music or the show or the book that I've read. So that's not happening. So I thought, you know what, we'll keep the log as is because that's the important part. And then I will just use random note paper to write out my reactions and quotes and things like that. And I'll put that in there and I will fill it out as a whole at the end of the month. However, another thing, I'm not wasting printer paper or like printing sticker paper. So I will be leaving the stencils, like the stencils of the where the photos go, until I have a full A4 page, and then we'll go back together and I'll record myself putting all the photos in at one of the months. So that's the kind of rules for this kind of video. I'm just going to write out my reactions, decorate it a little bit, and you can come hang out with me, you know, while we do this. I'm going to talk about stuff. I was going to talk and record at the same time, but honestly, the video would be 8 times longer because I can't necessarily talk about things and create at the same time. I would pause so often to talk, and I use my hands to talk quite a bit as well. So there'd be a lot of flailing about whilst I excitedly talk to you about a piece of media. So I've decided to go voiceover route, depending on how you pronounce it. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's going to be a little bit relaxed, a little bit chill. My media log is nowhere near as decorated as my other journals. I often toy with the idea of making it more decorated, but to me it's just writing heavy, it's reactionary heavy. It's not about making it like super pretty, if that makes sense. I want the writing to be the main thing. The log is the most important thing. So yes, I've kept true to that for the past couple of months, and I've been really enjoying that phase. Even last year I made it very minimal and I loved how it looked at the end. Earlier this year I tried to make it a little bit more junk journaling and it just wasn't working. So no, I will not be doing my very heavy like ephemera spreads or anything like that. It's usually just 1 or 2 stickers. That I love a tip in though. For some reason I just really like having like the highlighted quote of the media that I'm reacting to have a little tip in, its own little border. I don't know why, it's just something that I started doing and it was really fun and I just continued to do it. So yes, so this particular week was episode 2 of Cloudwood Ho, which is the Dimension 20 show. We haven't been keeping up with it, like we haven't been watching one episode every single week because my daughter was sick and then I got sick and then I got really, really tired dealing with my sick toddler and then me being sick. And I need to be focused to enjoy the Dimension 20 shows, which is a D&D or tabletop role-playing actual play show. So I tend to rewatch a lot of things when I'm not 100% like focused. So yes, this is episode 2 and we've only just started episode 3 like this week gone, and it's been out. I think they're releasing episodes 6 or 7 this week. I think maybe it was episode 5 or 6, but it's we're quite behind, which I'm also fine with because on the good weeks where everything goes nice and smoothly, we like to watch it every night sort of thing. Like we will do a couple of episodes every week, so I'm okay being behind. I love a good binge, so that is fine. Cloudwood Ho is a bit more steampunky than previous seasons of, than previous seasons that we've watched. They've got a huge range of shows, but we like the fantasy involved ones, but this one's a lot more steampunky in vibe, so it's a little bit different, which I really enjoy. I haven't been very well versed whatever that word is, in steampunk. I know very little to nothing about it, so it's just been kind of fun how this is sort of my main introduction to the vibe. And it's a lot of fun so far. It's very it's a comedy show, so of course it's funny. My favorite characters, of course, is going to be Murph's character Maxwell. I just love Brian Murphy. He's so entertaining. I love him so much. And Zach's character, the old man Daisuke is how they pronounce it, I think. Or is it Daisuke? See, I would say Daisuke, but it's not that, and they said it differently, so I'm wrong. Anyway, but he's a super duper old man who has a really old dog, and I love that so much. It's so cute. So yeah, so I get a lot of reactions out of these because they go for upwards of 2 hours per episode. So and because they're so comfortable with each other, there's a lot of banter and a lot of riffing and stuff, so you get a lot of good belly laughs out of it. So it's sometimes really hard to sort of narrow down my favorite quotes of the show. But I write down the ones that I really, really love. And the ones that I sort of miss or whatever, I go to Reddit. I love Reddit so much because they often have like a dedicated thread for that particular episode. So you can go through and read discussions of what other fans are saying or what stood out to them. And then there's always 1,000 quotes from people just going, I love this bit, and they'll quote that bit. And so that helps me quite a bit when I'm going back to backlogging or even just sitting down to fill out my media log. Reddit is just chef's kiss. So good for that sort of stuff. Especially like TV shows and movies and stuff. Not so much reading. Reading is a lot more of a discussion-based thing, so I use like Goodreads and that sort of stuff to get the proper quotes. Because I'm not an annotator when it comes to books. I would love to be, but I don't like pausing when it comes to reading. If I'm reading, I'm sitting down with my coffee and I'm sinking in. I don't want to have to set up a whole desk as well. I don't like reading to feel kind of like studying or like work. I just like to enjoy it. Obviously, if there's passages or quotes or something that really stick out, they will naturally stay with me. So I will eventually write it out somewhere, usually on my phone, and then I'll go back and use that for media logging. So yes, as you can see, that's a very simple setup. That's the end of me talking about Cloudwood Ho in those particular pages, which is very, very cool. In this particular week, we actually finished... Ooh, actually, no, that's a lie. The week before we finished Department Q, which was a really, really good show. I need to write that in the back of my review of that in the back of the book. I have a long list of backlog for the back of the book. So what doesn't fit on the notes section of the week, I will just flick to the back of the book and write it there. But for some reason, I think because it just doesn't feel like the media log, I don't get super inspired to write in the back of the book, so I have a long list of things of like, oh, I'll get to it eventually. Because I don't really decorate the back of the book. Maybe I should start decorating the back of the book. Maybe that'll help me get back into it. Interesting. See, we're learning. All right, I'll shove some stickers randomly in the back of the book and then I'll fill it all out. What a great idea. Because I often review albums and things like that in the book, in the back of the book, in the notes pages in the back of the book. But again, I just have not been feeling motivated to use the back of the book. Interesting. I'll have to think about that a little bit later. Anyway, this particular week, I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And it was delightful. It was genuinely delightful. I love a cozy read. I had just finished a horror book, so I wanted something a little bit chiller. I had started The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. I'm still currently reading that. I haven't been in a super big reading mood, so it hasn't been read as quickly as normal. Usually when I start a book that I've been enjoying, and I have been enjoying The Black Tongue Thief. Every time I read it, I giggle, or I go, oh, that's so cool. But for some reason, my brain just hasn't been in a reading mood, so I haven't been able to really sink into it yet. However, I have the day off to myself, so after I finish recording this, I might just spend the afternoon with a delightful cup of tea. It'll be either a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of coffee, because I don't drink a lot of tea. I don't even know why I said that. But no, I will be reading. I probably will read it a little bit uninterrupted without my kids. So that'll be delightful. Anyway, I read a cozy little book called Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I had no idea about this book. It's actually really funny. It's definitely a confirmation bias sort of purchase. I saw it when I was out shopping with my partner, like at 3 or 4 different bookstores. Every time I saw it, or like even in Target and stuff, like I would walk past the book section and it was staring at me. And then so I was like, you look really cool. Like the cover is super cute, super pretty. And like the title of it was really interesting too. I was like, that is definitely something I would like to read eventually. And then we went to my small independent bookstore down the road from where I live. We went to the city this particular day to have a look around. And I live a little ways out of the city. Anyway, my darling little bookstore also had it. And we were just walking through it. We like to have a look through every time we go past it, because it's just fun to look at books. Anyway, and I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll buy it. And I'm really pleased that I bought it from the independent bookstore instead of like the big book chains or even like the department stores or whatever. So I bought it and read it in 2 days. It was utterly delightful. I had such a great time with it. It was very chill. A couple of the things I didn't love about it, the whole thing like, oh, I fell asleep, or oh, I was under a spell, so something must have good happened and I got out of that tricky situation. I don't like that. Like I understand that it was a very cozy book, so it's not really the goal to have a bit of tension. But yes, I will save my opinions of the second book, which I did immediately go out and buy because I had such a good time with this one. I will leave my opinions of that one for the next Media Log episode, because there are some thoughts. Intrigue. You have to come back now. But no, I really liked it. It was a solid 3.5 star for me. It wasn't perfect, like I said. It was very cozy. I cried. I got a bit teary because I love that trope of like, oh, I nearly lost you, and they get kind of scared and they have to go away and like deal with, they're really intense in the moment and then they go away and cry because like the adrenaline finally hits them or finally dies off. I love those scenes. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for them. So I did get a little bit teary in those moments because it was very cute. But in overall emotionally, it wasn't brilliant. I wasn't like, yeah. I like to feel when I read. That's what like the 4 stars and like the 5 stars get, is when I was bowled over with emotion, or the writing was immaculate sort of thing. But yeah, this was a good, cozy, chill read. So I am glad that I bought it, and I'm glad that I experienced that, because I do really miss buying books. Or that practice of just going out and about and flicking through bookshelves, going, oh, that's interesting, and then just buying it and reading it. Or, borrowing it, because, libraries exist. You don't have to buy every book you want to read or think that is interesting. But, yeah, I really miss that sort of practice. I have definitely been relying too much on, like, book talk recommendations and things like that. And most of the time, they're not that great. Or, they're just not... I haven't spent enough time... what do they call that? What is that? When you narrow down searches, refining my book talk feeds or algorithms to give me people that have similar taste in books. It's all very much the commercialized side of it, and I just haven't really cared for the books that they've been telling me to read. And so I am excited to sort of trial and error it myself again. I will probably take a lot of recommendations from Camille, because she's ruined me. This is a shout out to you specifically, Camille, for making me read Between Two Fires and having standards of books again. How dare you? But no, it was fun. It was great fun. And yeah, I definitely need a little bit more high stakes, emotional high stakes for a book to be like brilliant. Obviously, the fluffy, cozy reads are fantastic for after a harrowing book, but I definitely need the harrowing. I think I need a bit of sadness, or at least a bit of just drama, like not drama, but fear, intensity, if you know what I mean. Anyway, enough of that. I am now, what am I doing here? Oh, Sex Education. My partner hasn't seen it, and I was like, you need to, because it's brilliant. So we've been rewatching that. We didn't finish it. We'll probably finish it a little later, but we got up to season 4. We got up to the last, is it season 4? The last season? So we did a really good job watching that. We watched it a lot. We stayed up way too late. Like, we were going to bed at midnight kind of scenario, because we just got so sucked into it, because it's a really good show. And yeah, so I don't often log rewatches, right? Because a lot of the time I don't do a big rewatch. It's literally, we don't really have anything to watch tonight. Let's just chuck something on the TV, and it's usually like an old favorite. Like, I'll put New Girl or Seinfeld on, because I know that they're easy comfort shows that I watch all the time when I'm just needing background noise. But because this was a proper rewatch, like, he had not seen it, so he was going to come in to it blind, so I had to actually sit there and watch it with him to gauge reactions and things like that. That's why I tracked this one. And even recently I've been rewatching Parks and Rec. My partner has only seen bits and pieces of it. He hasn't sat down and watched all of it from start to finish. So we've started that as well, to sort of mix it up a little bit between the Cloudwood Ho episodes and even Game Changer episodes that we watch every week. So yeah, so that is that. Why did I start talking about that? I don't remember. But Sex Education is fantastic. I love that show so much. My favorite characters are Ruby. I love Ruby so much. I love Amy, and I love Eric. I feel like they're everybody's favorites. But especially Eric. Eric's fantastic. But no, I love them. They're so much fun. Although, look, I'm going to say, I think Mr. Hendricks is my favorite. I'm a Horrible Histories girly. I love Horrible Histories. I love the TV show Ghosts. So, like, that cast, those group of writers are fantastic, I think. So the fact that Mr. Hendricks was in there, kind of shattering my childhood innocence of him. But, no, he's fantastic. He's so funny in it. Not at me, I'm faculty. It's so good. He's just so funny in this. So I think he's probably my ultimate favorite character. But it is a really good show. It's very engaging, and I get really sucked into it. So, and so did my partner. He really, really liked it. So yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with media this past month, which has been really, really good. Very relaxed, very chill month of media. So I do believe that is it for now. I'm definitely going to look into decorating the back of this book and seeing if that helps me. I will check in again next month when we do another one of these little videos, and I'll let you know if it actually helps. Heck, we don't know. Maybe you'll see it. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys if that helps me. And we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to sign off here, though, because I'm getting thirsty. My throat is very dry, and I don't really have anything else to say. So I will catch you later. Please let me know if you liked this kind of video, if it's something that's interesting to you at all, if you media log, all that sort of stuff. Tell me if you actually have your own sort of media tracking journal at all, or if you do it just in, memory keeping for, like, oh, you watched a movie or whatever. I'm very curious to know. But yeah, anyway, until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.